right, good morning, everybody. It is the 12th of February, and as you can see, we got a good crowd today. So the club is on a field trip somewhere, and so we don't have as many of our people here, but that's okay. We still have a good crowd today. So why don't we start? Mike, are you here?
I am.
Excellent. Let's start with your video. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this?
Well, I think it kind of started with the episode of school photography that Emil has out there. I don't know if anybody has ever taken any of his classes and stuff, but it seems one of his sessions was about reflections and using water and still water and rain. And since we had a lot of rain this past week, looking down on the ground, sometimes you may get a different perspective than what you normally do. So I put this into so I took a number of shots, different locations that you'll see. Took some different shots from Logan, Utah, and Lake Havasu, and tossed them together. But they're all reflection related.
Okay.
So.
Well, cool. Well, let's check that out.
And then just made a slideshow out of it as opposed to running it through iMovie or anything else.
Okay. What do we think of that? What do we think of that? Oh yeah, go ahead.
When I started seeing the images, because there's a black background, but the images are framed in a white, it made me
Right.
feel like the images were overexposed because of that white framing too.
Yeah. Well, some of them possibly are through the phone, but I thought for the most part, I would, again, I checked my computer and they look pretty good compared to the screen tends to blow them out just a little bit. Yes, Sam?
I'm not sure whether it was part of the software or what, but having the lots of little pictures in one screen, I found it hard to see. In my mind, the photo is the important part, and it's hard to see them when it's like that. And also, this is it. There was one kind of near the end that had either a huge dust spot or something right in the sky that was
Okay,
detracting, but you know, I love this collection, so it's nice effort.
Yeah, it is certainly the software so I ran it through all the pictures in slideshow and then and then I recorded that whole slideshow presentation, put it in CapCut and then took out just a little bit. So it was like a 3-step process.
okay.
Was this through your iPhone or your camera
Uh,
photos?
the slideshow was through my iPad, so photos that I'd taken with my iPhone and
Okay,
stuff like
that's
that.
what I was, they were beautiful. The only thing, I love the water and the reflection. I was just wanting more serene music, softer. That was me though, because
Yeah.
I love looking at water. I was just thinking spa.
Yeah,
Your choices are limited with regard
Yeah.
to the music on slideshow.
Oh,
I
I'm
mean,
sure.
but there are a couple things that I have used in the past, so.
I kind of agreed with Sam in terms of, like, there was times where like 4 images would come up and they were up for a good bit of time, but almost I would start looking at one and I'd like start to really look at that and then it would go away. I wouldn't see the other images, or at the end I was trying to like quickly glance at the images and say, okay, which one is the one I'm interested in? I personally would say, instead of doing this through an automated program, do it through iMovie. Show us those images individually. That would give me, because you got some great photos there. And so I'd like to really absorb and enjoy them and not feel like I'm rushed trying to, like I said, when the one image sections would come up, then I could enjoy the one image, but when it was 4 images or 3 images, boy, it was a lot to look at. And you don't have any flexibility when you're using an automated program like that, like you said.
And are you limited to that narrow vertical thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's iPhone.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's where we got this nice big beautiful screen. I wanna see if it's a vertical, fine, but if it's a nice horizontal, I wanna really see it and enjoy it.
I
So,
don't know, this would have been great if he was photographing postage stamps.
That's a good idea.
so, but I think if you take those same images and have you played with iMovie at all yet?
Oh, sure. Not a whole, yeah,
Little
I
bit.
would say that I have, yeah.
Yeah, try.
Yeah.
Try that again. And then maybe you have some more flexibility with picking some other music that maybe is a little more serene. Is Pixabay, Arlene, is that yours?
Yes.
Pixabay they've got great music,
Tons of it.
tons of music, and you might find something that maybe
Yeah, Pixabay.
flows a little
Yeah,
bit.
yes,
Pixabay.com. So, anyway, does anybody else have anything on that?
No, I did, Mike showed me some of those images before
Yeah.
this, and they're great images and everything. And I was saying, I just want to see them fill up the screen because they're really cool images.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say nice job, but I know you can do better if you take that into iMovie and just play with it a little bit. The time that the image is up, maybe 5 to 6 seconds at least, and then if you do a little cross dissolve between the images, that cuts it, like if it's 6 seconds, that cuts it down to 4 seconds. So or not 4, it'd be 5 seconds, because it's gonna take a half second on each image.
You know, I would say using slideshow like I did is
Yeah.
probably best, you know, to share with family and stuff like that as opposed to, you know, a big group
Sure.
like this and stuff.
Well, certainly if you hand somebody the phone and say,
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
you know, hey, check it out, and they can look at it and hold it up, you know, close and see everything. So, yeah, give that a try. Okay, thanks for that. Let's see, what do I got next? Arlene, you've got one for me. It's the rock.
Yeah, Rock Steady Boxing.
Okay, tell us about that.
So I was asked to make a video at Rock Steady Boxing in conjunction with Parkinson's. And so anyway, this is showcasing their new equipment and their ribbon cutting. And it took me just as long to find the music. I mean, it was awful because in my mind, I think of Rocky.
Yeah,
Great theme, Rocky. And when you listen to this, it's not Rocky.
okay. Well, let's check it out.
One, two, I don't know how to do this. There we go. I'm Sue Colley, and I'm president of the Parkinson's Support Group of Green Valley. The support group's been in existence for 31 years, and we got our nonprofit status in 2018. And since then, all of our people are volunteers. We have no paid staff. We're all volunteers. And until this April, we've all operated out of our homes and our cars to make the support group the magnificent organization it is. This April, through the generosity of a major donor, we were able to get 1,200 square feet in the building at 555 North La Cañada. And so we have opened up the Parkinson's Activity Center. We do activities for people with or without Parkinson's. If you have a movement disorder, you qualify. And we do them 5 to 6 days a week, depending on what's on the calendar. And thanks to about 75 volunteers, we're able to make the organization run and just create more activities for people with Parkinson's. This Rock Steady Boxing open house is just an example of that. Steve and Laura McMurdy needed a place to operate out of for Rock Steady. One of our members put them in touch with Dominate Fitness, and those gentlemen were willing to let us use space in their facility, and they're very supportive of our members and what they're going through.
1, count loud.
2, 3.
I can't hear you.
4.
We do meet Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We have 2 classes. One starts at 11:30, one starts at 12:30. They go for about an hour.
My name is Hans Magden, and I have been diagnosed with Parkinson's for about 19 years now. And I started taking Rock Steady Boxing about 2 years ago, and it is as beneficial, in my opinion, as the medicines that we take. One of the things that happens with Parkinson's is you freeze up, you can't move, you have downtime where nothing seems to work. And the rhythm and reflex action of punching the bag breaks you out of that down period. And once you've broken out of it, then you can move again and you have your life back, at least temporarily.
Who's gonna trade places with me? Yeah, you wanna trade places with me? There we go,
Hi,
My name is John Goulet. We've outgrown our previous gym and have moved into this new location. And we're here to welcome everybody and to display the equipment that we've just recently been able to purchase through a grant from the Freeport-McMoran mine. We've invested the money in equipment, and this will be used to help people with Parkinson's to be able to get the type of exercise that's been proven to be the best medicine for people with Parkinson's. So we hope that this investment from the mine company will reap a lot of benefits in the Parkinson's community in years to come.
What do we think of that?
Very nice.
Actually, I thought sometimes, Arlene, when you were interviewing the guys, the music needed to dip a little more. I thought it fought a little bit.
Well, there was actually, the one thing I was gonna say is, and some of them that you would have the B-roll going. And you were getting that, I would kill all B-roll when the person's talking. There's a point where, like, if I show you, the first half of it, I said the volume sounded really good of the person talking, and then it kind of got a little too low and it was fighting with the other stuff. If there's a point here, hang on, why did I get rid of it? 1 second here. Nice and big, we can see it again. Like when this,
Yeah, he was a problem.
well, he's okay, I mean, because there's other activity that's going on and there's not much you can do about it. Now, you didn't have him with the little, I like that you had the little clip-on mic, which was great. I'm thinking of this, hang on, this guy right here. As he starts talking, you start showing some B-roll and you've got the ambient sound in that B-roll.
Hi, my name is John Goulet. We have outgrown our previous gym.
You hear that?
In this new location.
I would get rid of that in that shot.
Okay.
That kind of thing, I mean, just so that it doesn't fight, especially when somebody's talking, but when there's nobody talking, that ambient sound is great.
So when I listen to it at home, it sounds a lot worse here.
Okay.
I didn't hear this.
Sure.
It's like, oh, okay, this sounds okay. And then I come here, it's like, whoa, what the hell?
You know, I was quickly gonna say, I thought the music that you played was perfect.
Yeah, I love
It was upbeat, it had a nice energy to me, and I really, I think the Rocky type dun 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 would really overpower.
Yeah, but I love them.
Oh, I know, but if you were just doing slides or B-roll without interviewing people, then I think something like that might work. But since you're interviewing people, having something light, but it's upbeat, really was nice.
Oh, that took me so long to find,
Yeah.
like an hour, 2 hours.
Oh, boy.
All these-
Yeah.
Is that all?
Yes, sir.
I like the way the first person you interviewed and then you showed him doing something after his interview. That was really nice.
Yeah, I really learned a lot. Because I said, I know nothing about
Sure.
Parkinson's.
Sure.
And did you know, which I did not know, so I was talking to the one caregiver and I said, I really don't know anything about Parkinson's. And I said, how do you get this? And she said, well, she said, genetics and this and that, and Agent Orange. And a lot of, a lot of toxins. And she said, did you know that a lot of golfers are getting Parkinson's?
Oh, wow.
And I said, well, really? I said, why is that?
The chemicals on the grass.
Yeah, because they're picking up the balls and they're getting it on their hands.
Interesting.
And I said, I had no idea. And she said, yeah, think about it. And that's interesting. Never thought.
Yeah, but that's just kind of a guess. I've seen that research too. It's not very definitive.
Really?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, she was telling, I
Hmm.
said. I had no idea.
What's your plan to use it?
So, yeah, so he wants it for, I guess his website.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so I said.
Well, the
yeah.
most dramatic part was where the guy said, look, this boxing is better than the drugs that I take.
Yeah.
That just hit me. And that was great.
So,
I think they're gonna really like this piece. I think with just a little tweaking on the sound, I'll give a listen when I get it at the house and see where it's at.
yeah, let me know,
I will.
because I need to give it to him.
Yeah,
And I hope they don't have big changes, because if they do,
I don't.
you know what, they're gonna come to my house or the next week. This took me like 15 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what, though?
It's
It's a nice piece.
It is.
It really is a nice,
Yeah.
it's very informative, and I also love just the interviews. I'll give you one other suggestion, this is for everybody. When you're gonna interview somebody, it'd be nice to have, like this woman is on. I always ask, before I start the interview, I always ask for the person's full name, their name, give me your name, and then spell it for me. And then I will put that on a graphic
Oh, okay,
underneath.
yeah, okay.
I'll show you something later.
Yeah.
It just kind of, it gives it a little bit more of that news feel. So it's a nice way to just, I can see her name here, but like for the guy I would like that was talking, I'd love to know, he said his name, but I'd love to see it.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, it just kind of brings home, it's just that little touch. It's for future use. You don't have to go back and do this, but.
Hey, Kevin, I'm curious what people here think about the use of these giant wireless boxes rather than a microphone.
Well,
This is a big trend.
oh, sure it is. Well, I guess the question is,
Is
what,
that distracting?
it doesn't bother me. What brand is this? And then
It's
what?
not mine.
Oh, really?
And so he was fiddling with it. And the guy that gave it to me, and he didn't know how to use it.
Ah,
And so then when I got it home, the sound was so awful.
okay,
And I thought, oh, this is wonderful.
yeah,
And so then I had to, and then I, thanks to your course.
okay.
So I was fiddling with the sound and then,
Okay, yeah, but it sounded good. You adjusted it nicely. I guess it's, to me, I'll show you a little Caterpillar thing I did later. But I've got a little log by, sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. To me, these boxes are nice, because at least it's giving somebody usually better sound. Than, if you're not standing right next to somebody. If I was gonna interview Todd and I had my phone. And I'm like this close to him, I'm probably gonna be okay. I'm within about 3-4 feet. Well, if I'm back here and interviewing Todd, I'm like, let's say 6-7 feet away.
Yeah, but that's just Todd.
I'm not gonna get really good sound, or if there's other ambient noise that's going on, like at the gym, there was other, clanging and banging and stuff. Well, if I've got a box like that, a little external microphone, I'm at least getting better sound than I might, in terms of not picking up some of that ambient other
We
stuff.
always get better sound. It's just, to me, those are so ugly.
Yeah, but that's the technology. If you look at I've got one of these that's like, $150. They're not super expensive. In my world, they're not super expensive. DJI has one now.
They're
Roy-
super low.
yeah, DJI has got one, they're like $300. Well, it's a lot of money. And then if you go to I have a Sennheiser lav mic, which is nice. It's got a little pack and then it plugs into the camera. That's $1,000. Well, who's gonna spend that money? It's not worth it. So anyway,
yeah, but if you're borrowing somebody's. And you
Yeah.
don't know how to use it to begin with.
right,
and
Well,
you put it-
it worked,
Yeah.
sounded.
Yeah, but-
Because I had to put it into other sound, different sound system.
I guess the thing I think going forward would be if it was yours, then some of these have, you can adjust the volume so it's not as loud. The problem with these usually is you can't hear what's being done, like the one that I've got, that's $150, it plugs into my phone. But I can't monitor what that sound is, which scares the hell out of me. So you don't know, hey, is it sounding distorted? And on the one that I have, you can make adjustments to the input and knock it down a little bit so it doesn't get as distorted. So did they just say, here, hey, we've got this thing, do you want to try it?
Yeah,
Well,
one of those deals.
yeah, I mean, going forward, I think if you buy something, then you say, okay, this is my gear, I know how to use it, and away we go.
So is that Bluetooth?
No, it's, is it Bluetooth?
It is.
I was gonna say it's Wi-Fi, but it might be just Bluetooth.
So you could connect it to your camera.
If your camera accepts Bluetooth.
Well, what's the receiver for that thing? Is it-
Well, it depends on, there's, like the one I've got, it's got like a mini out, and then I have to get the lightning adapter to plug it into the bottom of the iPhone. I can plug it into one of my cameras. But I can't plug it into my big camera. It doesn't have that kind of connection. So anyway, I'd say well done. I mean, really, that's a really nice informative piece and just little tweakage, and that thing, I can't imagine them saying, oh gee, we don't like this.
Yeah.
Would the photography club ever consider like purchasing something and then renting that out or something out?
So the current club policy is that any equipment we have stays within the confines of the club, which is limiting.
So you can't take it out of the building.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just,
I mean, the concern is loss of equipment.
Yeah.
the other way around that for your iPhone or your Android, they make nice little, I sent somebody at like, I think when I did the audio thing. They're like $25 on Amazon. It's got a 10-foot cord on it. You can plug it into your phone and at least you'll get better sound. So there's options that are out there, and I think I even mentioned something in that audio one about. There was one that I saw that was out there was like $100. That had really good reviews. There was a Bose one that seemed like it was pretty good. So there's stuff out there, but well done. I really liked the piece. I thought the action was great and the interviews were great too. So that's a nice piece. Okay. Let's see here. What else do we have? Larry, you have redone your Madeira trail. Tell us about, was it last week you shared that, or was that the week before?
Yeah.
And so you took some notes.
Yeah, I took a lot of notes. Let me get up where I can look at faces instead of heads. Back of
Yes.
heads. I got a lot of harsh comments and they were all valid. And then I got together with Phil, and he also always saves his comments for me in private because he's generous, you know. Very helpful, very helpful. Okay, so the music narration balance. I agree with Arlene. The sound I hear from my system is not the sound you get out of this. Phil's theory is speakers are at the back,
Yes.
bouncing off the hard walls. So, yeah, I think that's a problem here with that, but.
You know, just quickly, I was gonna say, maybe that's something that we can address with getting a sound bar or something in here for this TV. As a club purchase. We'll talk about that. Okay, anyway.
It can't leave the room.
Just
What's that?
It can't leave the room.
Well, good. Go ahead, Larry, I'm sorry.
But yeah, but despite that, Phil still said I'm an old guy and my hearing's not good. I mean, he's younger. So you can say that.
I was gonna say.
Okay. So anyway, the comments prompted me to do some experimenting, both video side and sound side. So I went back to Audacity and I tried a couple of different tricks on it. One of them was to just bang up drop down the music when the voice was on. And that helped. The other thing that I tried was, I don't know how many of you used Audacity, but it's fantastic considering it's free. I took my voice, I ran it through the, what do they call it, there's an analysis. You can analyze your voice. So I said, okay, my voice was running between 600 and 800 or 900 hertz. So in Audacity, I could put in a curve, and that's how Todd and I managed to get his robot.
Yep, get the hum out of the
hearable.
background, yep.
So we dropped the sounds we didn't want on a curve, and I did the same thing on this one. So I dropped the music on the curves on the frequencies of my voice, thinking that would help. It did a little, but I still had to drop it down much more again. So that part worked. The other one was, excuse me. Oh yeah, on the verticals. I shot a bunch of verticals with my phone, and I'm never gonna do it again. You know, I hate to see people holding phones vertically and shooting it. And I did it to the, partly I was experimenting. I got a lot of excuses about this.
I like that.
But I did collect a lot of material. I hadn't done any editing for a while, so this was good. It got me back into, you know, really getting at it again. Anyway, I tried to clean that up so I could use some of the verticals. Like, it's hard to photograph a tree without photographing it vertically. So you got to do something with it. But you can panoramic a number of images together, and that works for it as well. What else? So yeah, the things I got all the information here. I did have it on the bottom, couldn't find it. Oh yeah, there's another one too. Video is about a story. You got to have a story. Phil said you don't have a story. He whispered that to me after I sat down and said, "You're right." You know.
I didn't whisper.
You didn't say it out really loud. And I wasn't trying to make a story out of it. I was just trying to get material. That's my excuse. And anyway, I got the material. I did that, but I was trying to get a feel for the walk. That's for the hike. You know, the feeling of going through the trails. I think I put that part across. I was happy with that aspect of it. Anyway, I'll let you look at that stuff. Oh yeah, and on my voice, my wife used to complain about this. She'd listen to my videos and she'd fall asleep. So I said, I got a problem. Phil said, improve the inflection of your voice. So I tried to do that on this one as well. So we'll see how some of these things work out. And generally on Audacity, I used to teach Audacity. If there's enough people that want to look at Audacity, I'd be happy to do the courses. There used to be a one afternoon course to teach a few of the things, basic things on it. Once you get into it, you know, and you start digging in, there's an enormous amount of stuff you can get at. You got to spend time like anything.
I think you should set that up.
Yes, I would agree. And the nice thing about Audacity is you can use it on a Mac or on a PC.
Yep.
So for people that are recording some narration, that would be a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I like that idea.
I'll book a day sometime.
Okay.
Afternoon.
You know to talk to Gene Comaromi, right?
Yeah. Talk to Gene about setting up a day.
Gene Comaromi.
He's the education coordinator.
Comaromi, yeah.
Comaromi. Comaromi.
Yeah, you know, done.
Do you accept people who flunked your class?
Only if they promise to come back 3 times like we did.
How about 7 times?
All right, let's see what Larry's got for us here.
Madura Canyon is a mecca for hikers, so I've done a few hikes there this year. When I thought I was sufficiently fit to tackle one of the longer trails, Super Trail seemed appropriate, but I didn't expect to make it all the way to Josephine Saddle this time. I set myself a target of hiking 2 hours up on the trail. At that point, I would make a decision to head back to the trailhead or continue. The trail has a variety of surfaces. The steepness of the trail varies as well. On a previous hike, I missed the trail crossing the stream bed and continued up to a small but insurmountable waterfall, to me anyway. But this time I locate the crossover of the trail. Unique trees make the hike interesting. I soon reach shaded areas where the snow remains. As I get higher, the views improve and I can see further into the valley. After getting around one ridge, I get some of the best panoramic views of the ridgetops. I'm now back in the sun and the snow has melted here. At the 2-hour mark, I'm feeling good, so I continue for another half hour. Although I don't get to Josephine's Saddle, I find a nice lunch spot. I ask a couple of passing hikers on their way down to photograph me at this spot. Going back down the trail, it looks different compared to how it looked on the way up, but it's a lot easier going downhill than up. It was another pleasant day on one of the mountains in Arizona.
All right, for those of you who were here last week that saw his version, what do you think of this version?
Better.
It's definitely better.
Yeah.
Your level was, in terms of your talk, your narration.
Yeah.
There was that-
music, yeah.
There was that one spot though that the music really got loud.
Yeah. Last week, we talked about the music a little bit. Do you like the music?
No.
Yeah, wait a minute. He's gonna serve communion with the music.
I would agree with those that I normally don't really pick on music too much in terms of what somebody selects, but it just, God, if there was something that was just more serene, I think
Yeah.
it would just go with the imagery better. But that, again, that's my choice or someone else's choices that say, okay, the organ music is just, I don't know, it's just a little too grand. Yeah, no.
To me, it's suspenseful, like what's gonna happen next?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's definitely that too. Well, didn't you say it's family opera music? Okay.
There's something towards the end where I think you're seeing probably a path, but there's something up here, there's something blue up there, like a backpack.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the mystery.
Okay.
So I didn't notice it until I saw it
Yeah.
on the screen.
How much time did it take you to redo your audio for this?
Afternoon, 2 afternoons, I'm not sure.
Oh, really? You re-recorded it, then you did all the stuff in Audacity?
Well, I redid the narration.
Yes.
Because I wasn't happy with my.
Yeah.
voice, particularly after it was pointed out, it's flat.
Okay,
And the other stuff, I say an afternoon, 2 afternoons, maybe 1 afternoon.
okay.
It wasn't that much.
You know, you had more punch
Yeah.
in your
Yeah, we
voice, so I
did.
thought that was
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah, that was good.
Well, that's a good lesson for all of us, you know. enunciation and, that's the one of the things when they talk about like these AI voices, like Tom, I'm busting on Tom, he's got that program that he always talks about that he uses for some of his stuff for the club. And it's just very monotone and it's the same pace the whole time. It just sounds very robotic. So having somebody actually do their voice usually is much better. So,
And it's not that bad doing it. Years ago, we did a couple in this group and got everybody up doing it. They didn't have a choice.
yeah,
There were two groups and everybody recorded. And we had what, 5 or 7 different people? They all did those ones.
well, you should do that with your Audacity thing. An Audacity workshop, I think, is a great idea. And that would also be a great one in getting people to do a little narration. Okay, yeah, Doug.
I just wonder how many people here have done the same show and then put a different piece of music on the next one, and then you know what feels good.
Yeah, just to be fair, music I wanted to use the one you'd used the week before.
Well, there you go, Doug. That answers that question.
You gotta be quick.
Get it to me fast. Oh, does anybody have anything else on that? Okay, let's see here. Todd, why don't you tell us about your
Cappadocia.
Cappadocia, thank you. That's a big word
So
for me.
this is video that's going to be shown in Travelog tomorrow night.
Okay,
But I wanted everyone here to preview it and everything. I mean, if you guys find anything
major.
major, I have about 2 hours to change it after this class. So it can't be,
It can't be too major.
no, too major.
Okay.
But two things about it. Number one, this is the first time that I actually wrote the script first and then went back and put in the images. So that made it a little bit different for me because usually I get all my pictures up there and then I'm like, okay, well, that's the scene, and I write the script. So
Did you like working this way?
it was different.
Okay,
So a little more challenging. I did run into, and this probably I need some help from Larry for something like this, or Phil, when I was in Audacity, when I did the narration the first time, I had two things. So I was using my my teleprompter, and I think I told Kevin this and everything. And for some cotton picking reason, I'm in the middle reading it under my tent, under my blanket, and an ad pops up on my screen and everything. And so that kind of screwed me up there and everything, but that's okay because I intentionally put pauses in my narration because the other thing, I need to slow down my narration. Because I'm just sitting there reading it, but I'm reading it just like I'm reading it in my mind. And when I played this back, I'm like, I need to do this a little slower and everything.
So why are you using the teleprompter?
To do the narration?
Yeah, but why don't you have the script? Just write it out.
Print it.
How are your eyes?
Actually, they're pretty good.
Good for you, because I'd be like this, so I'd have to have the script like between me and the microphone.
You've got 2 computers.
Yeah.
So you put it on the second computer, you blow the script up as much as you want. You know, and do it in segments. Break it up, but on purpose ahead of time, so you don't have to read the whole thing through.
I could try that.
Hey, Todd, it's called reading classes.
These are bifocals. I mean, it does read it, but it's
bifocals unless they're for the screen or.
computer glasses.
You
Yeah.
really need a separate set of.
pair of glasses just for the
Yeah.
screen.
Because you're normally reading here.
Yeah.
And your screen is usually about that far away.
Yeah.
And my optometrist said, you know, after the cataract surgery, my reading, I needed a, drugstore 2.5, but for the screen, go with like a 1.5 or 2.5, so about half the strength of the reading glasses.
Interesting.
Interesting. Well, I know all those kind of glasses you can buy it rather inexpensively.
I sometimes call these my Harry Potter glasses.
The other thing though that I ran into, and this is the first time that I've tried to do this was, as I was putting the narration, so I already had it on my timeline and everything, and I'm coming across, and I misstated a fact. And I'm like, okay, I need to change that and everything. So then I went back in to Audacity just to record that fact and came back, and I spent a ton of time trying to balance it so that it sounded like the rest of the track. And I couldn't do it. So then I kind of went back into that whole sentence and then just redid the sentence. I think it sounds close. You guys may notice it, especially you guys, sound guys, may notice where one kind of changes a little bit from the other narration, but so
All right.
it's
I don't know if we want to talk about this now or afterwards, but is there an advantage to using Audacity and feeding that into DaVinci or just recording in DaVinci? I mean, DaVinci, for those of us who use DaVinci, has lots of audio.
I've only started playing around with that, so I'm more comfortable with Audacity at this point. I know more. Larry's helped me several times with it, so I know how to go in and make some adjustments where I haven't gotten into that. And I was kind of under a timeline. I committed to having this ready for travel log, and I just had a couple other things on my plate that were like I was. In fact, last week, every waking hour, if I wasn't doing something I had to do, I was spending hours on this video and everything.
Well, let's check it out. All right.
Cappadocia, Cappadocia, Cappadocia. They are all acceptable pronunciations to people from the central part of modern-day Turkey. After all, tourism is their bread and butter. They refer to the Cappadocia region as a cradle of history, dating back to the 18th century BCE, meaning before Common Era or before the birth of Christ. Many different peoples have lived in this region. The Hittites were among the first settlers, the Phrygians, the Medes, Persians, Greeks, Romans, and the Gokturks, ancestors of today's Turks who came from Asia Minor. However, it was during the Roman period Cappadocia flourished. The Romans built roads and infrastructure, established trade networks, and created a thriving economy. When Emperor Constantine converted to Christianity, the Cappadocia region became an important center for the early Christian church. Many of the region's famous cave churches and monasteries were built during that time. To get to Cappadocia, we flew on Turkish Airlines from Istanbul to Kayseri, and for $25 we were able to upgrade to first class and were served a wonderful breakfast and fresh juices. After gathering our luggage, we departed from Kayseri in the passenger van stuffed with tours for a 1-hour drive to Göreme, where we met our guide Mustafa of Bella Tour Travel. Today, Göreme is the hub of tourism in the region. Göreme, meaning you cannot see this place, was appropriate name because you really can't. It's mostly known for its distinctive fairy chimneys, tall, cone-shaped rock formations created out of volcanic ash called tuff. They are clustered all around the city of Göreme and the region. During the 8th and 7th centuries BCE, the Phrygians started to carve homes into the formations, and between the 1st and 3rd centuries AD, Christians built churches and used them for prayer and shelter when under attack. After meeting up with the rest of our group, we traveled to a ridge overlooking the Love Valley, where many heart-shaped rocks sit upon fairy chimneys, or some refer to it as Viagra Valley. No, I made that up, but it could be. Movies like Once Upon a Time in Anatolia, Winter's Sleep, Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance starring Nicolas Cage, and Episode 4 of Star Wars were filmed there as well. Derinkuyu is one of over 200 underground cities that were built to hide from invading marauders. It is one of the most popular of these underground cities and well preserved. It's spread out over 1.5 square miles, going down 8 floors to a depth of 197 feet. It is estimated that 20,000 people could have lived in this underground city. They also found a tunnel on the 3rd floor that reached another underground city 5 miles away. Imagine that! We then headed to a trail leading through the Red Valley. I don't think the letter V is in their vocabulary, or maybe it was just our guide, but we found it rather amusing, kind of like Elmer Fudd. The Red Valley is a series of valleys connecting Gureme to Shavoshin, and developed by the Greeks during the Byzantine period 1330 to 1453 AD. They built homes, churches, planted gardens, orchards, and vineyards throughout the valley. One of the peculiar things they carved into the rocks was housing for pigeons. They used the bird dung for fertilizer, ate the eggs, and used the egg whites as a sealer when painting frescoes inside the churches. I wonder if it smelled like rotten eggs for a while. When we got to the end of the trail, we hopped into the van, rode back to Gureme to a section of town that was last inhabited by Greeks during the turn of the last century. But after World War I was concluded, the Treaty of Lausanne in 1923 agreed there was to be a population exchange between Greece and Turkey on the basis of religion. That section of Gureme is still vacant today, except for what looks like a few squatters. Ushishar has a 200-foot natural rock formation with numerous man-made caves. It's referred to as the castle since it provided a high vantage point for the area. The Gureme Open Air Museum is a UNESCO World Heritage Site with its collection of 10 rock-hewn Christian churches. The Tokolai Church, the largest church in the area, and St. Basil were built in the 10th century. The Dark Church, built in the 11th century and called so because there's very little light inside the church, is one of the better preserved churches in the region. They also built monasteries and dorms in the same valley. This region was also the home of Basil the Great, Gregory of Nyssa, and Gregory of Naesianus. The many churches are carved into the rocks and are notable for their unique features, including domes and vaulted ceilings, but are best known for their surviving frescoes that adorn the walls. Maybe those egg whites did work. Our accommodations were quite unique, but not for this area. There is traditional lodging, but what the heck? When in Cappadocia, do as the Cappadocians. Stay in a cave. There are many options available in the region. We stayed at the Solom Cave Suites in Urget that was exceptional. The service, the ambience, accommodations were spectacular. Our room was modern by American standards, carved out of tuff, though I did scrape my elbow in the shower, but that one was on me. Our dinner and evening was thoroughly enjoyable. Needing some cash, we rose the next morning at 4 a.m. and walked down into Urget to an ATM. One wasn't far away, and we passed along some interesting sights and headed back up to our hotel for our private ride to the balloon launch over the ferry chimneys. When we arrived at the launch site, hundreds of balloons were laid out upon the ground, waiting to fire up their burners. The gondolas accommodated up to 28 passengers, in addition to the pilot and co-pilot. Takeoff is pre-dawn, and the balloons lit up the sky like fireflies in the meadows of our childhood. It was really a pretty cool moment. hopped back into the Mercedes and headed to the Lorry Valley. It's not far away from the launch site and a good landing area unless the wind takes your balloon in a different direction. Some did, but that's the behavioral wind. Hundreds of onlookers gathered on the ridge to observe party photo ops, glamour shots are all a part of the experience. After lunch, we stopped by a pottery manufacturer who demonstrated the spinning wheel, allowing one of our group to experience the spinning wheel herself. We got to visit the back rooms where they painted the pottery, and of course ending in their showroom. We ended our Cappadocia trip with a walk through the Pachelbel Valley with more fairy chimneys and the Imagination Valley, where with one's imagination you can see many different shapes and forms. Cappadocia is amazing for not only its geological features that are very cool, but their history, their friendliness, the food, the hospitality. If you ever get a chance to visit Turkey, Cappadocia is a must visit. We only spent 2 days there and easily could have been a few more. Goodbye, or güle güle, as they say in Turkish.
Okay, what do we think of that?
Really nice.
Very.
Good work, Doug.
Thank you.
The music.
What did you think of the pace of the video?
It was too fast in the beginning, especially.
It's gotta breathe a little bit. I mean, you're right about how your narration, you're talking fast, but it just, very much at the beginning, it was like boom, 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 scene to scene to scene, and literally there was no, a little, give me a couple of seconds to absorb a little bit and to go from thing to thing that you're telling us about. I mean, on your Egypt video, you had really nice pace. It just seemed to me that it was just very fast and rushed. So
What was your standard time for stills? You know?
Mostly 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Some of them I extend a little bit more if my narration
Yeah.
needed it.
Sure.
But I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
That I needed
Well,
to
you
breathe
knew that.
more.
You knew that.
Yeah.
From a photography standpoint, I don't know what caused.
I don't know what's causing it either in the vignette.
Yeah.
It was
and it was
vibrating on this TV.
Took your eye.
Because my TV's about the same size and I didn't see that on my TV.
Oh, well, okay.
I think if I had to guess, I'm just thinking that it's the resolution of the TV.
Could be the refresh rate.
Well,
of the
it's,
TV.
we'll have to look and see. I mean, long story short, but Sandy likes his TV a certain way for his stuff. I'm not a fan of it. So at some point, I mean, if you look at, if you can see my laptop,
Yeah,
you see the color and snap in his photo versus the
Totally,
TV.
totally.
The colors are flat, they're just not as snappy. And there could be something with the
Were you
vignette.
noticing the vignette? vibrating on your laptop?
I was watching it on the TV.
Okay.
I'd have
See,
to
like
look-
right there, you could see.
Yeah,
If
I watch-
Yeah.
well, and I think
It's on the laptop,
it's this.
Yeah.
I think it's beyond the resolution of the TV.
but it's on the laptop.
No, what do you think, Phil?
Look at the laptop, it's there also.
Well, yeah, but it's not making
It's not
if you look at
vibrating.
the gradation is not as, here on this
That's just
screen
like
is
a screen.
smoother. You've got this hard
Ring.
gradation. Phil, please help me.
Well, no, it's just the way it's being reproduced, but it also has to do with like levels. So if you looked at it on a scope, you'd see it.
Well, I can see that this is low, it's dark,
It's really contrasting.
so. Yeah,
So do you think that's something curable by the settings of the TV, or do you think that's just the?
No, it's steerable by taking the video and changing the.
I wonder how
gamma
to be with the
example.
projector.
And then you wouldn't get it on a TV.
it'll be interesting to see. Tomorrow night, is it tomorrow night? Travelocity, travelog. I'm thinking of travel.
So is that on a projector?
That's on.
That's on a projector, so
Yeah.
I'm interested to see
Might
what that
be
looks like.
different.
I'm sure it'll probably look better than what
You know,
we're
it's
seeing.
not bad. I mean, it's not distracting.
Well, I think I said on my TV,
Only
that,
Ron would see it.
I didn't see that on my TV at home.
Sure, yeah,
Large TV.
we'll have to look at it. What I need to do is come in some off day here and set it the way we wanna have it, and then we can change it back to the way that Sandy would like it to be.
Well, you can put it on a thumb drive. and keep
Yes,
the thumb.
keep that. Settings. Okay,
Settings for TV on the thumb drive?
you can,
Yeah, in fact, the TVs do have a thumb drive
Oh,
that
yes.
supposedly was,
Yeah, I didn't know that you could save and store the settings. But, you know, the thing is. You know, I wonder, we have. This, I think it's the spider for,
sure, like a monitor spider.
for calibration, that should also work, I think, on a TV set.
It will.
I've never tried it. But to do that, well, first of all, something that a lot of people don't understand is the settings affect the computer, not the monitor. But the important thing is that you keep the monitor set the same, you don't
Right.
vary the settings of the monitor. So
Yeah, but when you have a
if
lot
you-
of different
if you-
users,
Yeah, I was about
it
to
just
say
goes
that.
up.
Yeah, yeah. I was about to say, if you and Sandy can't agree on. a
Right.
Standard set of settings and adjust everything from the computer using it. As Phil said, it goes out the window.
Well, you just change it to movie as an example. And
Yes.
That's a whole different set of colorimetry.
Sure,
So the images are just gonna look different.
I believe the club's Apple has. You use a thumb drive on our computer to set the TV. You don't plug the thumb drive into the TV, you plug it into
the
a
computer,
computer, and then the computer is set up to run the TV.
we'll have to check into that. Okay, does anybody else have anything on
So,
that? Oh, go ahead, Sam.
And it's not something I expect you to change before tomorrow night, but, the first music. Had like a drum beat or percussion that I found overbearing.
Okay,
And, you know, I don't know
Was it, you just felt it was too loud or just not the right music?
it's, I thought the music was good, but the beat of the drum was just distracting because
it's fought with the narration a little bit, do you think?
yeah, well, it fought with the narration, I thought it fought with the music. And maybe with filtering in Audacity or in DaVinci, you could have, you know, kind of filtered that down a little bit.
Mhm.
But it just struck me as just
Sure.
boom, 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 and I found it distracting, but I don't know. Since I'm the only one who mentioned it, maybe nobody else
I didn't
was bothered by it.
hear that, didn't bother me that much.
I like the hot air balloons.
Yes, that was a great shot.
Time lapse.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun.
That's funny.
Very.
Yeah. And
Very
then
nice.
when you get over that ridge
Yeah.
and I mean, you think they're gonna land down in the valley below you
Come on.
and then the wind just brings them right up.
Yeah.
I mean, literally,
Yeah.
they're maybe 10 foot above you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty neat.
You kind of hope they don't miss.
Yes.
There's one, when we're done, I want to show you one goodie that I saw at the beginning.
Okay.
It's just a quick tweet.
Okay.
Hey, Todd, the one thing I didn't get was you are in the balloon and then you're talking about going in a Mercedes.
We weren't in the balloon.
Well, the photos were,
Yes.
so I thought that just didn't make any sense.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you have something, Doug?
I like that he had various transitions, but I like the clock.
Okay.
Because the next, it kind of like told you. The next time, or passage of time,
Sure.
so the passage of time.
Wasn't there like a spiral one too?
Yeah, there was. So, I mean, what my style is at this point is I kind of use cross dissolve when I'm in the same subject matter. Like when I was in the caves, I would use cross dissolve from one image to another. But then when I go from the caves back up onto land, then I will pick a different type, whether it's a slide open or barn, or in that case, a spiral on that. So.
And
it's
that
just
worked,
kind
that
of a-
worked all
Kind
right.
of a style. I don't like to use a whole lot of different transitions. I just don't care for that. But it,
Yeah. Hey, that's the beauty of it. Try it, and if you like it, great. Okay, thank you for that, Todd. Doug, do you want to show your video?
This is just a practice video, don't record this.
Oh, you don't want me to record it?
I mean, it's just.
Well, then hang on. Then you know what I'll do is I'll wait till we're done and show it then.
25 minutes this morning to make it.
Oh, okay. Well, if that's the case, I'm gonna show one of mine real quick and then we will stop the recording. This is a Caterpillar video that I just did. Shot it in December. It's for cat rental stores. And so this is where people can come and they can rent equipment if they need equipment. So this is shot in Colorado in the Denver area. Let me make it full screen.
Kramer's been in business since 1911. We've got a Midwest division running out of Wisconsin and Minnesota. And we've got a railroad group that works around Kansas and Nebraska a lot. And then our Mountain West division is taking care of Colorado, and we've done some work out in Utah. Our Pacific Northwest region operates up in Washington.
So the Rental National Account program through Caterpillar is a program that helps customers connect with other cat dealers across the nation. And it makes it easier for them to roll into a new city. They know who they are and they get the equipment they need with a priority status. We're unique with the Caterpillar Rental National Account program because we offer dirt equipment as well as allied, non-Caterpillar branded equipment, the boom lifts, scissors, everything else. So we offer the entire package. And as a whole, we are larger than any of our competitors put together. So it's a much more powerful network worldwide.
I'm the equipment manager for the company. So we have a national rental agreement. We have negotiated rates. Our estimators are able to use that when we go into different areas for estimating, bidding the projects. And the national account guys out of CAT Corporate, like when we're moving into an area that we're not real predominant in or familiar with, we'll contact them, they'll pave the way for us. And it helps facilitate and expedite our rental needs. We have about 1,400 pieces of company equipment, and we may have equipment finishing a project in one state. It won't finish for a few months, but we have needs for equipment in another state. That's mainly where we rent most of our gear, is to supplement our company owned. And as we're growing as a company and getting larger and more projects, that just becomes more prevalent year after year.
So this is Floyd Hill. This project is a widening project and it's addressing a bunch of safety concerns. We're going to be straightening out the roadway, widening out both eastbound and westbound I-70. We're contracted to remove about 60,000 yards of material off of this project, which the majority of it is solid rock. The equipment we're using out on this project is mainly excavators, loaders, dozers. We do have a track loader out here. Some of the CAT technology that we use out on the project, we've got some GPS systems on our dozers and blades. Really takes a lot of the guesswork away from the operators, and it makes us more productive in the long run. VisionLink is a great tool when the guys in the office can sit down and look at what machines are being productive, which machines aren't, what kind of issues we're having with them, if there's any alarms going off or check engine. It's very handy from a maintenance perspective. The Cat Rental Store and Wagner have been big participants in what we have going on out here, getting through the winter. Behind us here we have a forced air heater, and then we also have our ground thaw unit here. We're in the shade the majority of the day. We get about 3 hours of sunlight, so we have our own challenges of keeping concrete heated and the ground thawed out for building structures on. The reason we rent from the Cat Rental Store is the reliability of the equipment we're renting and the versatility of what equipment they have in their fleet. What pleasantly surprises me about the equipment we get from the Cat Rental Store is the cleanliness of the machines. A lot of times we'll get them out brand new, very little hours. They're all in good working order. Just a great place to shop. What I value most about when we rent equipment, it's being able to get something on a moment's notice. With the relations that we have with the Cat Rental Store, we've got the availability to talk to mechanics after hours. And not only that, but in a pinch, if we have a ground heater go down or any of our equipment goes down, they're right on the ball, just getting things rolling to get us up and running again.
All right. What do we think of that? You don't even care about equipment.
Go out and rent a cat.
Rent a cat. The one shot, or the one thing that I had to do that was a complete pain in the ass. There was the thing that we showed with the GPS where the machine talks to that right there. I had to create that. And the problem is the machine's moving, so the track, there's a thing in Final Cut, and I still have to play with it, more called tracking, where you can track an object. Well, the problem is I can't track two things. So I had to manually do this. So I had to move these items.
Really takes a lot of the guesswork away from the operators.
And it's not perfect.
It worked.
Yeah.
It works. Yeah. But I look at it as I know that if somebody that's an actual professional in doing that would do a better job. But I can't even tell you how long that took. That probably just that one shot was a couple of hours to create that. So anyway.
Did you have to do it frame by frame?
It wasn't that it's frame by frame, but what happens is as that cycle goes through of the bars going up, that's literally a second or so. I'm then having, as soon as the first dot starts again, then I have to be adjusting both of them and individually doing that. So
did you think about just freeze framing the vehicle? A lot easier.
It wouldn't, well, sure, it'd be a hell of a lot easier, but they want to see the machine working. So
the other thing that I didn't care for, I thought it was a great piece. I'm renting one of those things tonight. But thanks for the warning. I didn't like the still frame and then the title super and then going to the interview video.
Sure.
That didn't work.
You know why I do that? What he's talking about.
I have no idea.
Well, I'm going to tell you. The reason I end up having to do that is because the person we're having to cut out stuff as they're talking. So they might be ums or ahs or pausing or whatever it is. So to hide that, I go with a still image and then I put the title up and then I bring them live. So there is a method to the madness. If I show you
well, you're saying to avoid jump cuts out of the
Oh, God, big time. And literally, sometimes it might be literally only, I'm cutting to one word. So you can't use, and also my client hates jump cuts. So this client hates jump cuts. So anyway, I try not to do that, but if I show you what's being done, if I show you the program, maybe next time I can show you. If I didn't have that still image, what that would look like, and it would not
I
work.
just didn't think it was smooth, that's why.
Yeah. Well, it's okay.
The rest of it is.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Your mask, your vignette was.
Yes, doing the
vibrating.
same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was doing as Todd was saying, and I saw it too. Just, some of these shots were like right
Yeah.
there. If you look at the computer, you don't have that hard, vignetting going on. So anyway, we'll have to work on it.
Like the mix of their drone and broad shots.
Thanks. Yeah, that was, and I'll tell you what, the other thing that was a challenge was the shots where we shot at the bridge. We were up on top of the mountain, by Century City, I think it is, where they've got the casino. I can't remember. Central City.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're up there and it was windy as hell, and I really thought I'm not gonna be able to fly. And I was still able to fly, so.
How come they're growing grass on the bridge?
I'll tell you the interesting thing about this is not a public works project. There is a mine that's here, and the mine is putting this bridge in. I can't even imagine how insanely expensive. Because I think they told us it's gonna take them a year to build this bridge.
Why is the mine paying for it?
Because it's it's gonna make their access easier. And so anyway, it's their project, and it's like, man, talk about some bucks.
And you didn't just try to wipe out the image, the shadow of the drone.
Did I try?
Yeah, you didn't try.
No, I never do.
Okay.
In the shot of the motor grader, right there,
Yeah, well, a couple of them, yeah.
I never worry about, there's the drone
Mhm.
right here. It's just, it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
So,
And aerial before previous year, where were you standing when you operated the drone?
where, like any of these?
No, the other one, the bridge.
Oh, the bridge? I'm not in the shot. I'm actually,
How far away are you?
I'm down in here somewhere. You can't see me. So I try to hide if possible. So anyway,
Well, that shot's impressive. I mean,
oh, it's
Yeah.
a great scene.
yeah.
And because I thought you can't see it from the ground. So the drone really does it. And I had contemplated climbing up the side of the mountain here. If the drone, I couldn't fly the drone because I thought, okay, I need to get up a little bit. So anyway, so that's one of the latest projects that I've done.
Good job.
Well, thanks. Okay, we meet again next week on the 19th. Todd will be leading because I am on the road. As soon as I stop the recording, we're gonna look at Doug's video real quick for those that okay. All right, I'm gonna stop the recording. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you later.